preach anywhere. It's an opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. For those of you who are wondering why my mom's not here, she asked who was preaching, and then she found out, so she said, "No, I'm good." No, she's at an art show in Rittenhouse Square. So right now she's hustling the uppities with some paintings in Rittenhouse. So hopefully she sells a lot and it'll be good. We're going to be in Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6. And really before we read, you don't have to stand quite yet. In all seriousness, I got a chance to do Sunday school here months ago, and then Bible Baptist Church as far as officially standing for liberty and just saying thank you for the love that you've shown towards me and my mom, and it's been truly an honor to be here so far, and it's undeserved, and just very, very grateful, and words can never express how much it means to us, and so I know I don't express it much, and I apologize, but we're very appreciative of just being here and the love we've been shown, and even Andrew Hall. So we're good. Galatians chapter 6, you can, if you're there, stand with me. And for the reading of God's Word, and it'll be simple. We'll be out of here. There's already been a running tally of it's $5 every minute I go down. So we're the bidding between Rakim and Brother Andrew Hall. We'll see who wins out. We're there. Galatians chapter 6, starting verse 7. We'll read to verse 10. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Let's pray. Lord, we love you. Lord, thank you for loving us. And Lord, thank you for just the privilege it is to serve you. And Lord, I pray you'd help us now just to get something from your word. And in the busyness of all, still look to you. Lord, I pray you be with this upcoming series of revival. Lord, I pray it would be a time to reset and refocus and just to realize why do we do what we do. And Lord, I pray to help those who are weary. Lord, I pray you give them strength. Help those who are busy to realize its labor is not in vain. Lord, we love you. Lord, we ask all these things in your name. Amen. And here, the book of Galatians is Paul's, we're going to believe, Paul's first book that he's written. As far as he goes on a series of missionary journeys, in his first missionary journey, he goes out, and the book of Galatians is not written to a city, but as far as a region of Galatia. And as far as Paul's first missionary journey, he sails to this region, and he's there going about city to city to city. As far as you have different stories, you have elements to sorcery. You have where he's literally kicked out of the towns. And you have other things that are going on where they thought him and Barnabas were gods and they were going to worship him. They said, we're not God, we're just man. And here what Paul would do as far as when he goes through these towns, the first thing he does is finds a synagogue or some public meeting, and he sets up and proclaims the gospel and continues to soul win and so on and so forth. And he's there for a series of weeks and days as far as discipling and growing and setting up these churches. And then when he gets to the point where they're somewhat established where he can leave, he'll then go. And as far as his first missionary journey, he goes to town to town to town to town. And when he reaches the end in Derbe, he just turns back and goes back and checks on them to see where they're at. And he makes his way back to Antioch and Jerusalem. And as he's back, there were all along the way, the first missionary journey, there were these Jewish Christians who were following him behind, criticizing what he was doing, and they would call Judaizers. And what happens was there was these people who were saying, yes, you can be saved by Christ, but as far as you had to do the works of the law, follow the Mosaic laws, be circumcised, these other things, as far as you were adding works to salvation. And that's not what Paul was preaching. And here Paul hears this as far as he goes through, as he's spending these years and months in this journey to reach these people, that very soon these people are following lies that these Judaizers have preached. And to the point where Galatians chapter 1 starts with, I marvel that you're so quickly moved as far as what I've taught you, what I showed you. You're so gone astray so quickly. And nothing's changed as far as we still hear that, and even to the point where it says, any gospel that's not his, let them be accursed. And here we still find it, no, there's still salvation through faith in Jesus Christ alone. There's nothing added to it. And here we're still facing those same things, whether it be Judaizers or whether different religion, anything that adds works to salvation is not true, and it is accursed. And here Paul then begins to go through the chapters to come as far as we are not under the bondage of the law. We don't have to work to keep our salvation. And as far as we have Christian liberty. And as far as Paul is warning here that Christian liberty is grace is an opportunity, not a license to sin, but an opportunity to do more for the Lord. If you imagine if we had to work to keep our salvation, we would just be living in a constant fear of messing up and worrying about what's going to happen if I sin. Am I going to lose my salvation? I remember when I was a kid, I would go skiing, and Rakim would say that's a white people thing. So skiing, would go down skiing, and then I enjoyed it as far as going down the hill. It was great. You're going, you're moving, you're zooming. But as far as we get to the bottom of the hill, to get to the top of the hill, you have to take the ski lift up. And meanwhile, I did lessons as far as when I was a kid. I was probably 7 at this time. And I'm there on the ski lift, and there's an instructor, and the obvious question, you're suspended on these very, very, very thin cables, and you're wondering, are these cables going to support my weight? I hope so. So you're there, the gates are open, and the obvious question when you're a 7-year-old is like, has anybody ever fallen off these things? And to which, I thought the wonderful instructor would say, no, these are totally safe. Instead, he said, yeah, some guy last week just ate it, and he fell off, he passed out randomly, don't worry, he's fine. So then somehow in the course of the lesson, I end up alone. And the way the gate is set up as far as the ski lift is, it is a chair. You're waiting for the chair to round. You're looking, you're sit, and you're lifted up to the ski lift. And here there's a bar that comes down and secures you. The thing is, when you're 7, your arms are not fully developed yet. And as far as the gate is all the way up here. So I'm down here. And in order for me to get to that gate to secure me down, I would have to scoot all the way to the edge of the seat. Now, I just heard the story that somebody fell off the ski lift, so I'm not taking a chance. So instead, what happens is I am barely breathing, holding far back as possible I can on that ski lift, and, saying my prayers, what little prayers I know, that Lord, please help me not to fall off this ski lift. And what happens is even as I got older and developed how to ski, the first thing I do, I don't talk to anybody. The first thing I do is, hey, the ski lift has to be secured. And I don't play around with that. People say, oh, well, it's fine, it just gets away. No, I want to be secured. I remember the church at Solid Rock would go on these we would go to Knoebels, which I don't know if Knoebels still exists, somewhere in PA. And they would have these wooden roller coasters. And I was there, I was on it. And roller coasters are wonderful, they're great. But there was this one point in the roller coaster where it was up and down and up and down and up and down. And at some point when the ups were up and the downs going down, I am standing up in my seat, which should not be happening. So I'm here, I should be here, but as far as when the coaster's going down, but I am standing up, and I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. So any sense of enjoyment, I'm the guy who tries to hold the arms up, see who can be a man, hold your arms up in the roller coaster. I am also back to the panicking, death gripping, white knuckle, making sure I don't fall off. And what happens is we're so worried about being able to lose our salvation, our whole Christian life would be nothing but terror. Nothing, am I good enough? I got to be careful. I don't want to, walking on eggshells, because if I sin, I very well could lose my salvation. So here, Paul is teaching grace is an opportunity. Hey, we don't have to live in fear. We can actually enjoy the ride. We can enjoy it while we're here. We don't have to panic. We don't have to wonder. We don't have to worry if we're going to, if we mess up, will God send us to hell? We have Christian liberty. We're eternally secured. But then Paul takes it the other side as far as we have grace, and grace is a wonderful thing. We can do as far as we know that no matter what we do, we will not end up in hell as far as if we're saved. But as far as we have to be careful that just because I can go out and do whatever I want, that we are not just living life, however, that we are supposed to be grounded in truth and learning and serving the Lord. So here at this point, Paul is already talking to mature Christians where they know that they're settled in their salvation as far as they are. It's not by works or anything we could do, it's by faith in Jesus Christ alone. As far as talking about serving, somehow in some form of aspect, as far as Galatians chapter 6 talks about, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, you which are spiritual, restore such a one. As far as maturity as a Christian, as far as we start as Christians, just like babies, as far as we're needing somebody to feed us, somebody to feed us, somebody to feed us. So the point is we get older into Christians, we can feed ourselves. And then a mark of a spiritually mature Christian is that I am going out and helping others. I am feeding others. I am being a blessing to others where it's not just all about me. It's about how can I help somebody else? How can I nurture? How can I disciple? How can I grow somebody else? And so that's the whole preface of Galatians chapter 6, is that we're at this point, a carnal Christian cannot help somebody get right, as far as you have to be spiritual in order to restore somebody. So here, this is already people who are serving, already people who are living right, already people who are supposedly doing some aspect of ministry in this church. And here, as far as just with natural, with motion and service and ministry and all these wonderful things, we can grow weary. And ministry is a blessing. Ministry is a command. It's an opportunity to serve the Lord. But practically, if we can go and 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 go, it can get tiring. And it's all part of it. But as far as I want to be an encouragement tonight, as far as we'll read verse 7, as far as be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And so many times when we hear this verse, I'll walk on this side of the pulpit because I feel like I haven't been, I've been over there the whole entire time. But as far as you'll hear that verse, be not deceived, God is not mocked. As far as, okay, this is just a verse, I know that, what God sees what I'm doing. And it's true. God sees what's behind closed doors. God sees what's behind when the lights are off. God sees past your privacy screen protector. God sees all those things. But so many times we're focused on the angry man in the clouds who is just waiting to zap us, that we miss he's a loving father. That Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says he wants to give us an expected end. And Brother JR, could you pull up Philippians 1 verse 6 as far as he is, we was mentioned, Brother JR preached on it all this morning about baptism. Brother Andrew mentioned it. But Philippians chapter 1 verse 6, and necessarily wasn't even planning on doing this, but might as well since two of them were already mentioning it. But here it says, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. As far as God is not the malicious God who's up there waiting for you to mess up so you can judge you. Although, yes, it's true. He's a loving Father, but he is a righteous judge. As far as we can't, be sure your sin will find you out. And we're going to be going to revival. And I hope that you're right with God as far as you're clean. You're where you're supposed to be. If not, it's what this altar is for. And it says if we have any sin, we can confess to God and God will forgive us all those wonderful things we mentioned. But here, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And here I want to not just focus on the aspect of, if you're living in sin, God is going to punish and God is going to judge, which is, I can't guarantee that he won't. As far as I want to have the blessing of God wherever I'm at, and I just want to be in good standings with the Lord. But here, could you think, be not deceived, God is not mocked. And here, if whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. God is paying attention. God is looking. God is noticing. The creator of the universe is paying attention to the individual. David says, when I consider the heavens, the sun and moon, which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? What is son of man that thou visitest him? And Brother JR preached a message that was wonderful in Bible Baptist. As far as it's all good, that's what the title was. As far as the very hairs in your head are numbered, less on Jesse's head, but they're numbered. And here, God knows where we are, and our price is more than sparrows. As far as God, Brother JR made it beautifully as far in the morning, that God is working out the plans and his plans in 8 billion people all at the same time, and he cares about you. So I know where we're at. I know we're tired. I know we're rolling. I know it's been exhausting. That's an understatement. But if I can just give you 4 quick points. We'll just do one. One, you do matter. You do matter. What you do matters. But you do matter. God is paying attention. God is caring. God knows what you're going through. And God is watching. The God of the universe, you care to him. And we can, as we're going about ministry, serving, it can be very fatiguing as far as, just going and going and going and going and going and going. And it's wonderful. We can get our focus off track. But as far as you do matter, and I'm not going to hammer this point home because Brother JR mentioned and Bible Baptist, Brother Andrew mentioned it here, that God cares for us. And if there's any doubt, go back and listen to those messages. God cares about you. And God knows you. And God, loves you. And there's no doubt about that. But number 2, so first, you do matter. Number 2, what you do matters. Verse 8 says, "For he that soweth to the flesh shall the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall the Spirit reap life everlasting. And whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap." And we are, Brother Andrew mentioned it earlier tonight, as far as we are trying our best to serve in ministry. As far as we're rolling, it's busy, we're going, it's an opportunity, it's wonderful. And here, how are we facing these wonderful kids who are there, who are inundated in the devil's lies, the world's philosophies, the media that's just lying to them, and they can see the end result of sin, but yet are still sucked up into it, thinking that they're somehow going to overcome the odds and be the exception to the rule. And we have them for such a short time. And can I say, you are making a difference? And I know that with all the people here, we're going. I have failed personally as far as thanking every single person who's been a part of Super Church. And I want you to assure you, hey, your labor is not in vain. It's worth it. Amen. There's no price on a soul. Amen. And we're going. I know we're weary, and I almost feel, they were mentioning Brother Harrison coming up with this theme, and Brother Harrison coming up with these things as far as for the kids and the principal in the school. Can I tell you, I feel almost guilty and hypocritical because I'm being paid to do this. I'm not the ones who are sacrificing, who are working jobs day in and day out, who are here on their days off to serve, to sacrifice. So, any recognition, any sacrifice that I'm making is pale into comparison to all the people, all of you who are sacrificing day in and day out. It's just an opportunity. What an opportunity to serve the Lord. But you do matter. What you do matters. I know you're out there, and as far as, why am I cleaning up? Brother Jared mentioned cleaning toilets. Why are we there cleaning toilets? Why are we here vacuuming carpets? Can I say, I was here on Thursday night, and, you have the school, and don't get me wrong, it's an opportunity to be a part of the school. The kids love moving these chairs, and, you have the tape measure has to be particular, and I'm there on Thursday night. I'm like, why are we moving these chairs all the time? Why do we not just, there's funds coming in, why don't we just get stationary chairs that we don't have to rearrange all the time? And as far as I'm in the flesh, Brother Jazar is in the back, and he's working in the Zoom call with the preacher, the missionary coming in Thursday night. I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, honestly, just I'm ready to drill these. I'm going to have Brother Andrew, we're going to come in on a Tuesday. We're just going to drill these in and just call it a day, right? Why are we moving these chairs? And what happens is you're going, and moving these chairs, and it's taking forever, and they make sure the measurements right. Got my little Tonio stick, whatever Brother JR calls it, whatever that little... The magic mallet, whatever thing it is, and I'm like, it's like a croquet stick, like I use it for mini golf on Ocean City. So I'm there with my little Wonder Bar thing, and we're separating, we're moving the chairs, it's all lined up, and there's a knock on the door outside the corner. I'm like, I could be thinking of so much more things I could be doing better with my life, other things besides moving chairs. And I'm there, I'm going here, knocking on the door, I'm like, Brother JR's on the thing with the Zoom call. There's nobody else in this building. I guess I have to go answer the door. And I'm like, this is gonna, don't those people, I'm like ready to yell at them, like, I'm busy, I'm moving chairs. You gonna come here and move these chairs? So I'm there, I'm rolling, I go out, and Samira is like a blessing and a half. She's like, practically lives at this church at this point. So Samira's there, she's wondering about, like, last week she was here like 5 o'clock. I'm like, don't you live elsewhere? But she's here, she's rolling, and she's out there with 6 people, and she's like, these people all come to church on Sunday. I'm like, oh, that's great, Samira. So we get the flyer, and sure enough, they're here today, and it makes you wonder, okay, and the busyness of, moving chairs and doing things and going, what's the big picture? And even, Brother Pastor, texted me, Brother Paul, way back, moving the homeless people off the morning. We can be so busy with things we have to do, and I'm like, I feel like I'm spending more time in the morning moving homeless people off the front porch than I am in my Bible. I'm serious. And I'm there, and we can become weary in well-doing, where as far as, okay, we're doing these things, we're working. It says, okay, why am I, and we're just, the questions we ask ourselves so often, like, we can just get real. Okay, tithing. Like, what financial advisor would say giving 10% of your income away is a smart move. Missions, as far as, okay, they want, more of my money. We're giving more, where is it going? It's not going to my paycheck. I know it's not coming out of it's coming out of my pocket. Where's it going? A second church, as far as, okay, we're church planting. Well, that's great. Isn't one midweek service enough? Soul winning, as far as, Brother Jared's like 3 hours. I'm like, 3 hours? We're rolling. I'm like, okay, we're going. Don't they know, all these wonderful things? And even just those, the Christian school. Man, why am I putting my kids through a Christian school? It would be so much cheaper if I just put them in a public school. They have a Bible. They have preaching 3 times at least a week. They have rallies that they're being forced to by Brother Hector to go to at Harbor. They have all these things. They'll be fine. Sorry, Eli. I'm really sad there too. We good? All right, we're good? Eli, I just want to make sure you were sleeping too much, so. Said, no rest for the weary here, right? So, we're on. We're good, Brother JR? I just want to make sure the people in Hisley Park were hearing me, that's all. So, why am I working, and again, not me, I'm talking about you, as far as we can ask ourselves, why am I busting my tail to put my kids through Christian school just to get attitude as soon as I get home? And there's all these things, why am I on a bus, sweating with these kids who, act like punks, who don't appreciate anything I'm doing? Why am I singing before all these people who are half asleep anyway? Why am I, they're on their phones. Why am I up here serving on the platform? There's nothing, they're all on their phones anyway. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And we could be so busy and questioning why, but when you look at our lives as far as we're doing all these things, we're moving, we look at on the outside, if we gave the list of opportunities and ministries, I know who I'm talking to. We're talking to this Sunday night group. As far as you're all here Brother Rock, Kim, and Andrew are probably looking at each other across the eyes saying, when's he going to done? We should have gave him more money so it'd be over sooner. I know who I'm talking to. As far as we could be weary and well-doing, we're going. As far as when we look at it, as far as we see, okay, in the world's eyes, we say you're a cult, you're spending way too much time there. You might as well move. You spend more time at the church house than you do your actual house. As far as you can ask these questions, why am I doing this? And you're going. As far as, okay, on the outside, yeah, you're a super Christian. You're doing all these things. I'm not belittling that. But what you do matters. You can ask yourself all these things, and you're wondering, does it really matter? There's 30 people in Super Church. Trust me, those kids will be just as annoying if I'm not there. I get it. But what you do matters. You're making a difference. Souls are being saved. Well, they're here for the candy. They don't understand. They're just going to go out there and live however they life. Even if they end up on the court at K&A, even if they end up under the L, at least we know that when this all ends, we know where they're going. You do matter. What you do matters. And thirdly, why you do what you do matters. What is our motivation? Why are we doing what we're doing? Is it duty's sake? For he that soweth to his flesh shall of his flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And, God not only judges as far as what we do, but also the motives behind it. And I'm sure there's going to be so much things I thought I was doing. When I get to the end of my life, wood, hay, stubble, it's burned up because I was just doing it out of duty's sake. Why are we doing what we're doing? And Brother Andrew talked about it at Soul Winning, as far as we need a reset, as far as we can go. And I made the joke with, the special preacher might just be pastor 4 nights in a row, just to trick us, right? So I'll put $5 down on that. So, but as far as needing a reset, a revival, why are we doing? And sometimes we can be so busy in the motion and the going that, okay, Super Church is over. All right, great, on to the next one. And we can be so busy in doing that we stop. Okay, well, hey, let's stop and really thank God what he did. The souls that were saved, the lives that were changed, the people that were coming back, the smiles we left on their faces. We don't know what's going behind those closed doors. And we just have such a short time, and we can get so caught up in the flesh as far as they're just what the external problems, and we see external problems, we miss the Christ for help behind those problems. And we have such a short time. And the reason why behind what are we doing what we're doing? Are we having the right motive? Are we doing it for the Lord? And like I said, I'm terrible at saying thank you. There's so many things we're doing. As far as, there's people on the bus. I didn't thank one person on the bus one time, Miss Tania, and we abandoned Miss Tania, Zaire, and Suleiman on a corner, talking to kids. Not one time, do I thank, and then I'm up in 3rd and 4th grade. Am I thanking as far as, the workers there, even the workers here, am I thanking them? And what happens is, why are we doing what we're doing? Some of us, we fall prey. Are we doing it out of duty's sake? Are we doing it because, this pastor's going to text us if we're not here, if we don't show up? Somebody's going to say, yo, where are you? And I don't feel like thinking of an excuse why I wasn't here. I can't think of a good enough excuse, so I'm like, I might as well show up. Why are we doing what we're doing? And can I be blunt as far as if we're doing it for anybody but the Lord, we'll always be disappointed. If we're doing it for a person, we'll always be let down. If we're doing it for recognition, we'll always feel unnoticed. If we're doing it for a pat on the back, we'll always feel unappreciated. If we're doing it for the affection of these kids, we're going to realize that their hearts quickly change. But if we do it for the Lord, it's never in vain. And we can go and go and go and go and go. I think, man, why isn't my name being announced from the pulpit? Why is don't they realize I did just as much as this person? Don't they realize I was in the same bus as that person? I was in the same class as that person. I was leading the Lord, that kid of the Lord just like this person. I was out there for so many hours visiting as opposed to this person who I know was back earlier. And the ruin, the thing that will ruin the joy in the Christian life is comparison. As far as God put us exactly where we are, God gave talents and gifts to different people at different avenues and different aspects, and we can be so focused on this person isn't doing much, this person's doing it, I'm the only one that's doing it, and we can get in this rut where it's just so miserable. As far as the things we used to love, the things we used to be so passionate about, are just becoming a chore and burdensome, and just, we've all been there. And, I've been there many times since I've been here as far as just reality. Man, you're going. Does anybody notice? And just like Elijah, you're getting that rut as far as, man, why am I doing this? I'm ready to throw in the towel. And you're ready to throw in the towel from what? Doing everything right. Doing everything you're supposed to be doing. But what's happened is the motive that you were supposed to do it and wasn't right. So hopefully, we have to remind ourselves, A, you do matter. B, what you do matters. 3, why you do what you do matters. And 4, it's all worth it. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good to all men, especially to those who are the household of faith. I don't think I'm going to get to heaven, and the first thing I'm going to get to heaven and say, man, do you know what I really wish I had back? When I see the streets of gold and I see the people there, I really wish I had my Sunday afternoon naps back. I really wish, I wish I didn't make as much difference in that kid's life. I wish I just had, 15 minutes more, just 15 minutes, not even a full nap, just 15 more minutes. I wish I got back earlier. I wish to go on about my day. And when we get to heaven, we'll realize, man, what matters? The amount of hours I worked, the houses, the possessions I gained, all wood, hay, stubble. And we'll get to the end of our lives, and can I say I don't know what we'll, when we get to heaven, if some of these kids will never see before, to come up to you and say, hey, remember me? And bluntly say no. Well, one week I showed up in Sunday school. Once that week I stood up in Super Church. And you were there. You made a difference in my life. You led me to the Lord. And so you never saw me again, but here I am because of you. I know there's a song you like to sing, and it's a tearjerker. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I'm a life that's been changed. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. There's an opportunity. The work is never wasted. What you're doing is where I get it. We're going. But let's stop and think, man, God is so good to us that we get to. I'd rather be on, you hear it so many times. I'm glad I'm on the giving end. I'm glad I'm not the person who's aimlessly seeking some sort of pleasure, some sort of purpose, some sort of fulfillment. I know what I'm supposed to do. The Lord gives me an opportunity. I get to serve the Lord. I get to be a part of it. It is such an opportunity. So as we go into revival, let's hit the reset before we hit the reset. Let's get our focus back on the Lord. I need it especially. Where we can be so busy and think, okay, why am I doing this? Am I doing it so I hear well done from man, or am I hearing it so I can hear well done from God? So I don't know what business is. Again, it's not a salvation message. Obviously, if you're not saved, you need to get saved. But I know who I'm talking to, the Sunday night crowd. And it's not like, it's not a beat down. It's like, Brother Harrison, we've literally been here all day, and here you are telling me I need to do more. That's not the case. All I'm saying is, hey, let's do what we're doing, but with the right motives, with the right focus. And we're just reminded it's worth it. God, which cannot lie, we shall reap if we faint not. Let's have heads bowed, eyes closed. Brother Dale, if you can come to the piano. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. No amount of effort is ever wasted when it's for the Lord. As far as, the song by him, when I look on his face, thorn-scarred face, I wish I had given him more. More, so much more. More of my life than I ever did before. By and by, when I look at his hands, nail-scarred hands, I wish I had given him more. It's always worth it. If you're not saved, this isn't a salvation message, but Jesus Christ loves you. He thought you were worth it. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. He said, in my house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. Trust the Lord. If you need to do whatever business you need to do with the Lord, do a business. It's always worth it. It's always worth it.
I appreciate hearing messages like that. That's real stuff right there. And we need to hear preaching like that, because it is very easy to go about our Christian lives and to keep doing all of the things that we're still doing, all the things we're supposed to be doing, but if we're doing it for the wrong reason, if we're not doing it simply because we're motivated by our love for the Lord Jesus Christ, and listen, then ultimately we will be weary in well doing. Lord, thank you for just your goodness and your faithfulness and your mercy. God, I thank you for meeting with us today. God, I thank you for meeting us with just even right now, Lord, through the message. You know, God, I thank you for speaking to our hearts. I thank you for speaking to my heart, God. And Lord, I just thank you that we can come to a place like this, Lord, and we can hear the preaching of your word. And Lord, your word, it does not return void. And God, I pray that you would bless all those that heard the message tonight, Lord. And I pray you'd help us all, God. Help us to take what we heard tonight and apply it to our daily lives. And help us to keep on pressing toward the mark, Father. And help us to do it being motivated by our love for you. God, I pray that you just help us and be with us throughout this whole week. And we love you and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, real quick before we roll out of here, for any of the teenagers that are looking to go to